How you doing, buddy? You doing good?
Doing good, Big O. How are you?
Good, man. Good. So, who's your top 5 receivers to cover?
Top five receivers to cover in response to Tyreek Hill's top five quarterbacks. Love it. Yeah. So I haven't even talked to him, but I'll go with Nick Westbrook-Akine up there. Oh man, it's wild.
It really is amazing how you know out of touch he is. Whatever is Tua top 5? No, he's not actually. So it doesn't really matter at this point. Is he top 5 in accuracy? Actually, he's top 1 in accuracy. But whatever. It doesn't really matter. Uh, to me, all of that is nothing. It's a nothing story. The worst part
I didn't
about
write it myself.
huh? What?
I didn't write something over it myself either, or
Yeah.
even post it. But.
To me, the worst part about the whole thing is everybody's livelihood depends on that guy, and his family can't depend on him. So now his teammates have to depend on him. His quarterback has to depend on him. His coaches have to depend on him. The front office, the ownership, and fans have to depend on him. And he fails everybody. And this is kind of part of the story of this whole thing that's going on with this team. I'm sorry, maybe you haven't gone all out, but like, am I supposed to count on Mike McDaniel to all of a sudden become a good coach and fix every wrong that he has shown us for 3 straight years, that he commits the same mistakes for 3 straight years? There's been no improvement. Am I supposed to lie to myself on this? So to me, what you saw from Tyreek over the weekend, it's just an extension of whoever is part of the Dolphin world. You need to count on things that are just too inconsistent, whether it's going to be your Dolphin secondary, whether it's been the offensive line, whether it's the dedication to the running game, the head coach, the number 1 wide receiver on your team. There's just so much instability for you to hope to have the stability you need in order to have success.
Yeah, and Tyreek Hill reminds you of that every opportunity he gets. It seems like it's just like Tyreek, the way his mind works is like, hey, you know what? I haven't bothered anyone online, made the offseason a nightmare of late in the last week or so. Let me go just throw this out there, even though obviously I know what I'm doing. And it's only a story, or even I didn't make it a story. I didn't write it. I didn't even repost it. Because I mean, yeah, are we going to really say, you have to have Tua in your top 5? Well, only because it's his quarterback, and only because in the past he has done that for Tua, going above and beyond to back him up. So that's why now it's a difference. Okay, you were saying that when Tua was new to you, and you were trying to build this connection, build this chemistry when you had just joined the Dolphins. But now it's been a few years. You had this rocky end of last season, and Tua missed those 6 games, and your numbers were down, and you missed the Pro Bowl for the first time in your career. And then now all of a sudden, we do notice this change, that you don't have him in your top 5, and you go with what's probably more of a true top 5 in the league, if you will.
Yeah, no, that's why I just think I have no hope for this season, to be quite honest. You know what I mean? It's just that's the problem I have with this season, that it's just the things that are in place are not building blocks. You watched the team last night. It's funny because I tweeted this out last night. The Heat and the Dolphins don't possess anything like the Panthers, and the Panthers possess everything you want in your sports team. The character, the toughness, the resiliency, the stars that can actually get it done, the discipline that it takes. Last night, they played like shit pretty much for 2 periods. And then all of a sudden, did they give up? No, they turned it on, and they actually made it a game. And playing like shit, they lost by 1 goal.
Yeah.
Where I walked away like, dude, they're good. They're fine, bro. This is pretty damn good. You know what I mean? A loss by the Heat or a loss by the Dolphins, and it's like, the world is falling for us. It's just there's a different level of confidence. There's a different level of professionalism. There's actually real stars on that team that come through. Unlike, and then there's a coach that really can put everything together. The Heat have that. He just doesn't have the talent, anymore to coach it, unfortunately. But it's weird like that. That's why the Dolphins, it's hard. And when you see this stuff, and the Jalen Ramsey stuff is lingering till next month, it's just
Yeah, and you earn that trust as a sports team when you have that experience and you've done it before. Like we felt the same way about the Big Three Heat, where once they won that first championship, which they did have to get over that hump because they still choked in 2011 against the Mavericks, and then they were down in that Pacers series the next year 2-1 before they won 3 straight. They were down 3-2 to the Celtics and facing elimination in Boston when LeBron went off in that one. But then once they got over that hump, beat OKC in 5, then the next year, no matter what hit them, you kind of still felt confident. Okay, they can pull through this. Even when the Eastern Conference Finals went 7 games against Indiana, you never really felt threatened for Game 7 at home. You knew they would get there, and then they came down 5 with 20-something seconds left. Ray Allen hits the shot, and down to that last second where you're finally starting to think, okay, now it might be serious where they get eliminated. And no, they still come through. So you earn that, and the Dolphins, for one, have given you no reason to believe that, because over time we've seen the opposite. It's if you get into the playoffs, it's as a wild card team that just goes on the road and bows out in the first round, and that's sort of the ceiling where, hey, even when you are 2-6 to start the year and then are coming back, you kind of just see there's like this hard ceiling where, all right, that the most you can do is get into week 18 with a chance, need some help, and you didn't get the help this year, and then you're out of the playoffs. So, they don't really give you that same feeling of, okay, I can trust this team because it's what we've seen.
Okay, so here's a multi-level, complicated question that I got to ask you, and you may not have all the information for it because it's really hard to gather all this information and what's going on. The secondary needs help, no matter what anybody says. Okay, so you've got the whole Jalen Ramsey mess going on. That'll happen after June 1st, right? I think it is, right? Or June, what's the date? June 1st, June 6th?
Yeah. If it's post June 1, which I think would make sense, but Chris Greer said they'll make the trade happen whenever they can.
Okay, so because I'm sure teams know they got to get rid of them, they're going to want them to pay them more money, and then they got to take more of a cap hit. So, again, multi-level question here. Have they not added a veteran corner because they've got cap issues they need to resolve and know where they stand next month? And those guys that are available are still going to be around. 2, this also happens sometimes. You don't want to sign some of these veterans that are around because you don't want to bring them in for mini camps and all that and put them out there for injuries. You'd rather sign them late in the offseason so that way they just report to training camp and then you can ease them in and not put the wear and tear of the mini camps on them, because it just puts them in a position where they could risk injury. So are they delaying to sign a guy because of the issue of, all right, let's not put wear and tear on these older guys with all these mini camps that they don't really need? Or is it a salary thing? Or is it they're not attractive thing? What is going on? Why they haven't added a corner? Why do you feel? Because I can think of many reasons with my experience of covering this shit, but I know they need a corner. Now, do they desperately need them in a mini camp? Not really. So you tell me what's going on.
No, yeah, there's so many layers to it, and that being one of them. So for the more veteran guys, and yeah, you don't really need a mini camp, OTAs. You don't need to put guys through that. Like we saw the Calais Campbell transaction last offseason. That occurred in June. I remember actually it was like the Panthers were playing a Stanley Cup final game the night that it went down. So it kind of got buried, and he ends up it's obviously a great player.
Well, people were writing that he was out of shape at the beginning, and it's like, well, yeah, bro, he's he's got to get in a groove.
Rev that motor back up. But
Yeah,
you trust him to. You trust him to. Where you,
bro, yeah, dude,
yeah,
definitely.
right,
It's
right.
like, hey, it's like Brent Grimes when they signed him, and he was coming off an Achilles. I told everybody, bro, don't worry about Brent Grimes. He's a pro. We learned to worry about his wife, but as for Brett Grimes, he was a total pro. You don't have to worry. With that injury, he'll treat it like a professional. And the same thing with Calais Campbell. Why am I going to wear him out for stupid mini camps? Bro, he's a seasoned veteran. He knows what he needs to do. Let me bring him for training camp, and that'll be with training camp and preseason. He's got plenty of time to get in game shape. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying that could be the reason. Is it money? Is it that they're having trouble attracting somebody? That's why I don't know what's going on, but you agree they've got to improve the secondary big time.
Absolutely. Yeah. They need at least one veteran signing. And I mean, you could be counting on Cam Smith because you did draft him a couple years ago in the second round, and you need him to step up. So that's why I'm saying they might not go for two surefire starters, because I know you do the math and you're like, all right, if Jalen Ramsey's getting traded, if you release Kendall Fuller, you need two veterans, and you didn't draft a guy early on in the draft. So I understand that math, but like they did draft that Cam Smith guy in the second round with the expectation of him growing. Now, can he do it? That's going to be on him, and he's been held back by injuries and other things. So between him and Storm Duck, you're maybe hoping for one of those spots. And then the guy that you sign, whether it's a Rasul Douglas, who turns 30 before next season, he's a guy that you won't need to go send out there through the offseason gambit of workouts. You can sort of trust him. And Asante Samuel's another guy that's out there, but he also was on IR for a lot of last season, but he's still young. It would benefit him to get into the building at least with a new team. He only played out his rookie contract, 4-year pro at this point as he hit free agency. But just the fact that there's multiple guys still out there maybe leads to not necessarily the same level of urgency. Like you're not down to that last guy, but I do feel it's still an appeal because of the playing time opportunities for the guys that are still out there. Like this is a huge playing. You're a guaranteed starter. You come into the Dolphins as one of the remaining free agent cornerbacks, whereas it's not that many places where there is such a glaring hole of, yes, you will immediately be that guy to start for us if you come here.
By the way, it's funny because you came full circle, because we started off the whole thing with, this is like a season where I look at it. I can't count on the coach because he's done the same shit for 3 years. I can't count on Tyreek. How can I count on anything? I can't count on Eichenberg. He's one of your top reserves. I can't count on Julian Hill. And now you're telling me to count on Cam Smith.
Well, look at the depth chart. You got Cater Cole, who has one guy.
That's my problem with all of this, bro. That's my problem with all of it. I'm a Dolphin fan that has to count on the uncountable, if that's a word. Okay, it's just you're asking me to count on Cam Smith too. At least you tell me Storm Duck. I got a little hope for him still. It's fine. He's still young, but man, after watching,
Cam Smith is still young too.
But Cam's immaturity and his lack of professionalism to all of this, plus the injuries, it's a double whammy. Now you're asking me to count on another guy that I can't count on. You know what I'm saying? It's tough, dude. It's tough. You're like you're going to be the hopium writer again. Well, if this goes on, and if this goes on, and if this goes on, hey, they can win 9 or 10 games and sneak into the playoffs.
Hey, that's my ceiling, is just sneaking into the playoffs with some help on week 18. Okay, if I was a hopium guy, I'd be saying, they could really give the Bills a run for the AFC East, which is not what I'm going to do.
Sideline to Michael Jordan, since the roof is your ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And actually, you say Storm Duck is young. I think I'd have to look it up to be sure, but I think Cam Smith might even be younger than him even though he's been in the league one more year. Because Storm Duck played a lot of college years too. So I'd have to look up their date of birth to be sure, but I think so.
The infamous Ethan Bonner now will be talked about again. You know,
training camp legend, Ethan Bonner.
Right. What are you expecting from minicamp?
From what, like the rookie minicamp coming up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll just get another shot. As far as from the media side of it, we just get another chance to talk to these guys. We'll see them in person, just in front of us as far as in the media setting, but not too much of the workouts. If it's like the past years, we really just see some the stretches to start and some positional drills. You know, maybe you could get a little bit of a feel of how a guy moves in person, but you know, you're not going to see him in the team setting or see. Maybe there's some one-on-ones, but even that I might not be sure. Yeah, we haven't gotten the full rundown of what we'll have access to. So hopefully there are some one-on-ones, but I don't think we will see like the 7-on-7, 11 the team drills. Yeah, none of that at rookie minicamp these days. But yeah, just another opportunity to see these guys in this draft class. You know, I did see Kenneth Grant already in person from the day after. He had his introductory press conference. And,
I like that pick.
An impressive young man, and I expect the same out of Jonah Savaianaya. Which, how about that? How about the way I just nailed that pronunciation? I think. But get a chance to see him as well, and maybe something else sticks out from some of those late round guys. It'd be good to see if something, if one of them gives you something.
What are you working on the Sentinel this week so Dolph fans can check it out?
Yeah, I'll have a couple stories tomorrow on some interviews. Don't know yet who we'll be talking to, but some off-season vibes from the team. Get the feel for how off-season workouts are going. Which one thing which we have seen, Tua has been out there, Tyreek has been in there, Jalen Waddle as well. So some of those veterans that. You know, these are extremely voluntary workouts, especially the early phases. And that is one thing that could give you some hope is, hey, like early in the offseason, they're already sort of with a mindset of changing what's going on. So let's see if that turns into something down the road.
I really was hoping that Tyreek would have said that Shedeur Sanders is one of his 5 favorite quarterbacks. Now, that would have been fun. You know what I mean? So, you know. Got a little spice to it. By the way, Welt Rheaume, Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume, the consultation's free. So if something happened to you, you don't know if you have a case or not, call Jeff Welt, Daniel Rheaume, ask for them, explain your case. They'll tell you if you have one or not. 954-966-4646, bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Call my guys, Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume. Support the amazing people that support us. And plus, our beloved governor, you know, he gave the insurance companies an advantage over us, the customers. The most important thing you'll do is hire the right lawyers. And like a lot of our listeners have done already in the last 4 years, they have hired Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume, and so did we. And they're much better because of it. 954-966-4646. David, as always, thank you, my brother. We will catch up on Friday, my friend. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
You got it.